As we were preparing to come up here, I was trying to think about what to say and what words to share to get a moment like this started. And as she started playing, I realized we don't need any more words. There's nothing much better than to have a granddaughter to be able to come up and play something like that just to start this moment in this time. So, Corey, first of all, thanks for having the courage to do that and to start this off. Because I think we all know why we're gathered here today. We're here to reflect and to remember and to honor the life of someone who meant a lot to so many of us. And so again, having a piece like that to start from a granddaughter who she invested in and cared for is a great way to start this. It's always hard in these moments to know how to get going, to know what to say, to know what to do. We've done them. We know they're coming. But the only thing we can do is just do it. Have this time that's been ordained, that's been set up to celebrate, to laugh, to cry, to mourn, to remember, and to honor. So I just want to encourage you and invite you today, wherever you are on that and however you're to do that. We're going to have a time where we're going to share from the mics. They want to hear from friends. You're going to hear from family, just different tidbits and snapshots and moments of the life of Marie. And you just be preparing yourself on how you may need to do that as well. Because not only in the midst of this are we just trying to honor her life and remember her, but by request of the family and by what we ought to do and by what she would want, we're going to remember and honor the one who gave her breath for 72 years until it was time to take her home. And so we're going to do our best at that today. So again, thank you for starting us off that way. It's beautiful. Let's let that get us going. But would we just bow our heads in prayer for a moment as we reach out to the one who brought us here? God, again, we don't necessarily want to say thank you for this moment because we don't want to be in this moment, but we want to say thank you for ordaining a moment, for having a place that we can gather, for having a time that we can gather to do what needs to be done this morning. First of all, God, Marie deserves to be recognized and remembered and honored. You deserve to be recognized and remembered and honored. But we need this time to recognize and remember and honor. And so again, as we pray downstairs with the family, I pray with everybody up here that you would just lead us into however that is for us, where we are, how we knew Marie, how we were connected to her, how she influenced our lives, how she impacted our lives. I pray that you would help us to be able to do what's needed to have this moment that you pulled us together to say goodbye for a while, to celebrate, to laugh, to cry, to do whatever. Just lead us in this. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. One of the best ways to get started is just remember a snapshot of her life. So Andy's going to come up, and I think it's also in your folders there. If you want to follow along, he's going to read a snapshot of the life of Marie for us this morning.
Marie Louise Marcum, also affectionately known as Cookie, of 72 years old of Waukene, Kansas, passed away peacefully on December the 2nd, 1924. Born on April 13th, 1952 in Waukene to Bill Wilson and Martha McMinns, Marie lived a full life of devotion, love, and service to others. Marie's life was centered around caring for others, both professionally and personally. As a certified nurse's aide, certified restorative aide, EMT, and reflexologist, she brought comfort and healing to countless individuals in her community. Her passionate spirit extended to her family and friends, where her selflessness and unwavering support left an unforgettable mark on the hearts of all who knew her. A gifted homemaker, Marie's kitchen was always filled with the aromas of her incredible cooking. drawing family and friends together for meals that nourish body and soul. Her artistic talent shone through her beautiful paintings, created under the guidance of local artist Lori Albin. She found joy in sharing her artwork, inspiring others, or creativity in others. Marie cherished the moments spent with her church family, traveling to live ministry events that deepened her faith and created lasting bonds. She was a spirited bowler, often competing in leagues alongside her husband, Vaughn, and taking time to coach others. She spent countless hours cheering her husband and son on at baseball fields across the region. She was also a formidable pool player, delighted in telling the story of how she beat Vaughn at pool on their very first date. Way to go, Vaughn. Marie's grandchildren fondly remembered her playful side, which came along during tea parties, episodes of Tom and Jerry, and countless games of scribble, chess, and slapjack. She will also be fondly remembered for being her big red mug, a constant companion that was rarely out of her hand. For years, it was perpetually filled with Pepsi, until she attended a you can see it, seminar that was successfully kicked her of the habit. While she managed to give up Pepsi, the iconic red mug found new purpose as it was soon filled with her favorite new beverage, Dr. Pepper. She affectionately refused this to her indulgence as her happy hour, a praise that perfectly captured her lighthearted spirit. Even in her leisure, Marie's warmth and humor shone brightly. Marie is survived by her devoted husband, Vaughn Marcum of Waukene, her sons, Alan, wife Stacy Marcum of Oberlin, Kansas, and Doug and Amy of Marcum of Hayes, Kansas. Her brothers, Jerry and Carol Wilson of Waukene, Kansas, and Jeff Gwynn Wilson of Dubuque, Iowa. Her brother-in-law, Woodrow Warren of Waukene, Kansas. Her sister-in-law, Marie Wilson of Waukene, Kansas. And her treasured grandchildren, Garrison, Camry, Corey, and Kaylee Marcum. She was preceded in death by her parents, Bill and Martha Wilson, her siblings, Ross and Kelly Wilson, and Rebecca Warren. Her grandchildren, Mason Givens and Brandix Marcum, and her 4 heavenly babies lost in miscarriages.
There's a reason for the sunshine sky, and there's a reason why I'm feeling so high. Must be the season when that love light shines all around us. So let that feeling grab you deep inside and send you reeling where your love can't hide, and then go stealing through the moonlit nights with your lover. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. its loving embrace. Just feel the thunder as it warms your face. You can't hold back. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly high like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly high like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love.
It's pretty obvious when that song was requested by the family to let your love flow is important and is a theme in Marie's life. If you're wondering what that was up there, that's a mirror that Vaughn made for her. And maybe he'll share more of that, or if not now, at lunch, if you want to ask him more about it, what each thing means on there, what that is. But I just picture, and as they've talked about Marie, as I've met with the families, I've sat down and hear the stories that come with it. It's pretty obvious that it was important in the theme of their life and of their marriage, their relationship, her life, that they would let their love flow. And I don't know why, but during listening to the song, I just pictured Vaughn and Marie dancing to that until I realized I don't want to picture Vaughn and Marie dancing to that anymore. So I moved on, but it just like had that feel that it would fit them. But I know that her love flowed. That's why you're here, and they want to hear about it. They don't just want to hear about it just to hear more about what Marie did, but one of the big reasons we're going to have a moment where we can hear from you just the different ways that her love flowed to you and the difference she made was because, as you know, towards the end of her life, and I want to say like the last 10 years or so, just health-wise, it was harder for us to be able to experience and have the Marie that was there before that 10 years. And especially for the children of her children, her grandchildren, they don't have all the same kind of memories. And it was a very specific request that they get a chance to hear some of who Grandma was. They have some memories. They have good memories. In fact, they have great memories, but they want to hear more memories. And the only way they're going to do that is if you'll have the courage to come to one of the mics and just share a thought or two on why you're here today, honestly. What Marie meant to you, why you're here to honor her. I share it every time. You know, we have a mic on each corner. We encourage you just to come up as one's talking, use the other one so we can keep the flow going. We don't want you to keep the flow going too long, or we'll just shut off the power if you are, and we'll keep this going because we have a meal coming and some other going on too, but we want to hear it. And you're going to hear from the family as well, mostly Red, but let's just take this time to hear the results of her letting her love flow. And in fact, I'm going to just kick it off by reading to you some letters from her grandchildren that were written. And again, it's hard for some to get up in this time, so they just wrote these letters and asked that I would read them. And I just want you to hear a little bit here already, but this one's from Camry. She says, I'm going to miss coming over and watching Tom and Jerry with you while eating your really good sandwiches. Just want you to notice there's going to be a theme about sandwiches. Apparently, Marie had a special kind of bread or jelly or something because she made really good sandwiches. You were one of the most nicest, genuine, and kindest person I knew. You were so sweet and kind to everyone. I wish I could have saw you more than I did. We all loved you so much. I hope you know that I'm going to miss you. Loved forever, Camry. Another one says, I'm going to miss your famous sandwiches. See, there it is again. And you're, real quick, what kind of sandwiches did she make that were so good? Just a regular sandwich. Peanut butter and jelly, meat. Mayonnaise, cheese, and meat. You kids are easy. All right. So all you grandparents, just get some mayonnaise, cheese, and meat, and apparently it's all good. And don't worry about all the other. Oh, now I'm finding out what's going on. Okay. All right. During lunch, find out the recipe, all the Merrick Whip and everything. But I'm going to miss your famous sandwiches and your hugs. I wish I could hug you one last time because I know how much that would mean for both me and you. I love you, Grandma, and one day I will give you that hug that me and you both desire. From Garrison. And this is from Corey, who you heard already this morning on the piano. It says, this is a story that we heard almost every time we came to visit G-Ma, Grandma. She was hunting with Vaughn and Bob, and they had come to a dead end. Bob asked which way she wanted to go, left or right. G-Ma said, let's turn around, because we've woken the deer up by now. Bob said, I've never hunted like that, but okay, because I guess it was her hunting trip. So they turned around, and about a mile down the road, they saw a deer. So she shot, and she said, I knew that was going to happen. And that was her memory in the moment that she would share every time they were together. She was being a smart aleck. They remember Marie. How do you remember Marie? We just want to open up the mic and give you an opportunity to share. Either one.
A couple stories are pretty funny. I want to thank first, I'm her oldest boy, and I want to thank all you guys for being here and coming. Really appreciate it, all of us do. But so mine mom did a lot of things. She taught me how to cook, taught me how to do all kinds of different stuff, helped me driving, whatever. But one thing I tried to show her, and Dad did one time, is I was younger, and he's trying to show her, in case when he was gone and stuff, if she ever needed to defend us or herself, that we had a gun in the closet, and trying to show her how to shoot it. Well, she wasn't too whoopy at it, but I wasn't out there too much and everything. But one night I was at home and sleeping in the back room, and she was in her bedroom, and we had a side door, and somebody didn't get the door latched, obviously, but she thought somebody was breaking in. They were between me and her, so she grabbed the gun out of the closet, cocked the hammer, and my mom shakes and everything. You can just picture how crazy that would be. But anyway, I'm dead asleep, and I didn't hear anything. She finds out it's just the door and the wind, and we didn't get latched. So she comes in and taps me. It's like 2 in the morning. I'm 7, 8, 9 years old. Taps me, and I wake up, and here's Mom shaking with the gun, and I'm like, Jesus, Mom, what are you doing? What's going on? And she's like, well, I don't know. Do I go shoot this thing off outside? I cocked the hammer, and I never had to unload it or anything. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, it's 1 in the morning. You wake up the whole neighborhood. And stuff's like, give me that damn thing, and so before you shoot me or something. And so she hands over to me, and she just starts laughing about it, So that's one story. We was pretty young. Later on in life, after Mom had her heart attacks and things, she was traveling a bunch to come see the grandkids and help take care of them off and on her days off. She was selfless. Come help anybody. We needed help. My brother needed help off and on here and there. So she wanted to spend time with the grandkids. So I was like, well, I'll try this again, and we'll try to do it right and show you. I taught a lot of people how to shoot guns over the years, so I'm going to take her out and show her, since she's traveling, how to carry guns. So we first start off, what gun's going to work for you? Semi-auto. Well, she couldn't really work the action. It was kind of complicated. It's like, well, we're going to do a wheel gun and stuff. Get you a revolver, and it's pretty simple. So a couple times she come up. We had a few sessions. We worked and stuff before we went actually shooting. Well, then we get to going out to shoot and stuff, and I take her out there, and there's a lot to this, but try to make it as short as I can. Everybody else can talk. But we get out there, and I'm telling her a little bit of safety, show her how to load it again, and we're going to go live now. And got a target set up and not very far. And Mom, she was real humorous about her trimmers. We gave her so much hell about those and everything, and we cut her no slack at all, me and Doug. Her driving sucked, you know, her trimmers, this, but she could cook and do a lot of things. But so she pulls it up, you know, and I'm like hitting your hands, and she's, you know, like this and stuff. And I'm like, we're just practicing, you know. So don't worry about it. We'll get it down. So she's got the gun out there, and she's doing this. Barney Fife ain't got shit on my mom. She shook and everything else, and I was like, there's a reason Andy only gave him one bullet. I don't know that you'd really need any, but so we're not cutting her any slack on that. Teasing her about all of it, she starts shooting a little bit. Like, just relax, and I'm serious. Mom's just having fun and joking things that's funny, and she ain't hitting anything. I mean, not even close. She couldn't hit a whole car from me to my dad. So I'm like, well, if they stand still, they're safe. We got to figure out how you're actually gonna hit them and stuff. And Mom just joking around. Well, we don't want to. She wouldn't hurt a fly. Didn't want to harm anybody unless it was for us or the grandkids or herself. So she's like, well, I don't want to hit them all in one spot. That's not going to do that much damage. And she's just trying to make light of it. I said, yeah, but you got to hit them. You got to hit them somewhere or whatever. I said, they're going to see you pull that thing out and be shaking like that and pray to God, I hope that ain't a hair trigger on that thing. And I'm making fun of her and just teasing her. And she never did end up getting it down. Couldn't hit anything. I said, well, you're going to hit innocent people instead of the bad guy, and you're going to have bullets flying everywhere and fire 6 warning shots and never hit nothing. You know, I'm just laying it on. She's laughing and joking, and I want to try to hit him. I want to get this down. I'm like, after several sessions, it never did work. She couldn't hit anything. I said, you just need to carry it with nothing, and you'll scare them to death, and they'll haul ass when they see you shaking and flipping out like that. And this woman's serious, but so anyway, if anybody knows Mom, how loving, caring, she wouldn't hurt anybody. She never did end up carrying a gun after that or doing any of that type of stuff. But our grandkids and stuff, they never got to see that side of Mom. I struggled with it for years, the last 10 years, because she was different than what she was prior to that. And then they only seen her for a few years. And like I said, we struggled. It kind of sucked the life out of her because she wasn't able to care and give to everybody else. And we wanted to do that for her. We were not able to really do that because she couldn't get around that well, and we have so much stuff going on. So I would like anybody else, like Jared said, if they can come up and visit, share some things. The grandkids didn't get to see a lot of that side of my mom. They had tea parties, and we still visited and seen her, but we couldn't pamper her and take care of her like she did all of us and everybody, and what she did in the nursing homes, to EMT, to anytime we needed something worked on, or we had headaches, or we had problems, she'd work on your feet or give you a massage, or she'd do something within no time. But we weren't able to do that stuff for her that much. So, and tell all the stories of her first 50, 60 years compared to her last 10. That's kind of what they got to see, and that wasn't 100% my mom. So if you guys have anything, you can share anything and memories from back then and how wonderful she was, I'd appreciate it if you could explain those. So thank you.
Hi. So I am her nephew. I am her youngest brother's son, oldest son. Name's David. Hi. Just letting some of the memories flow in. I remember when I was younger that we would, put puzzles together and play boarding card games. When she was working at some of the nursing homes, we would sometimes visit her there, and then we would also do puzzles and hang out with some of the seniors while she's working, or join her there for like lunch or something. It's very nice. And then speaking of the reflexology, she actually taught me a bit of that, and it was pretty neat. My mom really liked it. My dad, not so much. He get really tense whenever you touch his feet. It's like, and sometimes I don't know my own strength, so it doesn't really help. Yeah, I just remember being at her and Uncle Von's house for many Thanksgivings and Christmases. My family lives over in Iowa, so we were only able to visit back when I was younger, like every year, and we would switch between Thanksgiving and Christmas every other year. It's lovely to remember all these good times and us talking, getting to remember some of the stuff, like this blue go-kart that me and my brother and cousins used to drive around in their driveway and street. I got to hear more about this white pigeon she was taking care of. The dove, sorry. Yeah. Sweet. I guess I got to pet it a few times, but she didn't really care for it much. Just messy birds. But it's nice to reminisce and remember her. Thank you. Yeah.
Brian Wilson, Cookie's my aunt, and I was over there not so often, but we came over enough. I never knew, I think today may be the first time I knew her name was Marie. That's the joke, but it was Cookie to me and everybody else. I don't know that anybody in Waukene or the surrounding counties know her as Marie. It's Cookie, it always will be Cookie, and it was always cool to have an aunt named Cookie. I like cookies. As a really young person, I always thought, I'm going to go over to Cookie's house and she's going to have these fabulously made cookies. But what I remember, and maybe she did make her own personal fabulous cookies. I just remember saying, hey, I want some great cookies. And she'd pull like something out of the counter that she bought at the store and give it to me, which was fantastic. But I just thought cookies, because she makes excellent cookies, of course. So she'll always be Cookie to me. Another thing that I remember going over there was the whole family was involved in firearms, clearly, as Alan has mentioned. And and I was very interested in that stuff myself. I'd go over there. I only had my own gun I bought on my own, and Gary and I kind of shared a single-shot 410. But I'd go over there, and Doug and Alan and Vaughn, they would bring out a gun or two and be like, oh, cool. And the more I got excited about those three, then three more would come out. Next thing you know, the whole house would be littered in guns. And she was whatever, I think that was normal. But for me, it was like a kid in a candy store. I don't know if you know, but they have about billions of them. Sorry, Vaughn. It was always exciting to go over there and do that. As a matter of fact, today, Alan and I are in law enforcement, and I still take my guns to Alan and say, hey, can you cite this in for me? Because those guys are super smart in that, and I just loved being over there for that. It's a little difficult for everybody today, and me too. As I got older, I remembered going over there and always saying, it's that, I'll use the word unique, but really I want to use the word weird, blue house on the corner, because it was different, much different, blue, and the big, I think if it was pink foot in the front yard, what was that? It was pink, the blue house with this big old like 4 foot, and I believe it was pink, wasn't it? Foot. I'm like, well, how much cooler can that be? That was neat. The house was weird. But I did get some foot massages from her, and she obviously, that was one of her specialties, so she was excellent at that. It was fantastic. some of the things that have always stuck with me, and especially with the time period that we're in right now, we would go over to Vaughn's house quite often for Christmas. The front room area, hallway, and then back kitchen area, one of those rooms, sometimes I think it might have been changed, was filled full of tables and chairs and food. You could eat until you couldn't even get through the hallway anymore. There was always so much food, and I always enjoyed doing that. They were able to bring together a lot of people in that house, although it wasn't that big, and feed for days there. And that was pretty special, and I appreciate that she opened up her house for everybody anytime. The thing that I'll close with is the season here coming up to Christmas. With losing people and all, but my memories are doing the Christmas gift round, whatever you guys want to call that, the gift exchange. Yeah, sure. So I hated that part of it, because you would bring a gift and then you would open it and then it'd get swapped, and then if you happen to be last, you get to pick your choice for there. And I had that white elephant, so I happened to be the last one time, and I'm like, yeah, I got you suckers this time. That's right, I'm taking that gift, because that got taken from you. Yeah, and that was something that I'll never forget. We sat in a circle, and it took hours to get through this whole ordeal, it seemed like. And then you're like, all the gifts were good, but then there's always that one or two in there, and you're just praying that they don't take it from you, or praying that you take it and nobody takes it from you. So, what? As I started, I wasn't there a whole ton and all, but I do appreciate her and her family opening up to Gary and Melinda and I have really good memories about that. I appreciate it.
I'm Cheryl Johnson, and Cookie was my cousin. She was the oldest of us girls, and I'm going to take you clear back. We would go to Grandma's, and they lived next door, and growing up. And so going to Grandma's, you also went to Cookie's house and Jerry's house and Ross and Kelly and Becky and Jeff's. And Jeff, sorry, you came along later. How much younger? A little bit younger than me. But the memories at Grandma's with all of us. And Cookie was always that gentle, nice, kind cousin that everybody, could be around. And she wasn't rowdy. And we lived in Grinnell. And so it was 45 minutes to come to Grandma's house. And by the time we got there on Christmas morning, most of the time our gifts were already opened and played with. And I can remember the one Christmas when I got there and I had a baton and it was already bent in an L shape. And Ross or Kelly, one of them, came running up and said, "Here's your gifts, Cheryl." And Cookie just looked so sad that I had to have this bent baton. So she was trying to make me feel better. And she was always the cousin who did that, who tried to make everybody feel better and to keep the peace and to make everybody feel loved and that warm and welcoming. And I always have appreciated that in Cook. And I call her Cook. I've always left the Cookie off, and she's just been Cook forever. When she was in Quinner at the hospital, both her and Becky worked there, and I saw them there often, and everybody loved them, both of them. And they were so good. They were so gifted at what they did and so caring, and I so appreciate that. And the one story I have to tell, I had stayed at Grandma's. We'd get to go stay at Grandma's some. She was still working, but as grandchildren, we'd get to go stay, and she'd take us to the fair. And of course, all of the the grandkids in town would go to the fair and Grandma would take us and we'd get a rides and she'd get up and go to work the next morning after she made us bacon and eggs, Grandma would. But when we were at Grandma's, she said, we're going to go to Cook's house and she's going to feed us. And she said, I don't know what she's going to have, but you're going to be really polite. And we got the lecture of how we were going to act at Cook's house. And Cookie had potato soup, and I hate to say it, but I had never ate potato soup, okay? And I was like, oh. But I just went on and on and on how good her potato soup was, and I couldn't wait to get home to Grandma's and eat something else. But anyway, it was a great memory. We had a lot of fun around the table, a lot of laughter, and a lot of good times. In her later years, the last 10 years, as you guys talked about, when things were different with Cook, my mom her aunt, my mom Joanne was Bill's sister, and Mom passed away August 1st at the age of 93, and she had a special bond with Cookie. Those two were very, very close. And that hurt Marie, by the way. I know it did. It really was sad. And I talked to Cook several times after Mom died, and she just had trouble talking about it, and she missed Mom so much. But they talked every day on the phone. Cook would call Mom, and they would talk for an hour to an hour and a half. And Mike and I knew, my brother, we knew, and my sister Danella, we knew if we tried to get a hold of Mom between 4 and 5:30, it was impossible. You had to go to her apartment, and she'd have her phone up to her ear, and I'd say, Cook, and she'd say, yeah. And they would talk, and they were so good for each other. They were good for each other because Cook wasn't able to get out and do things, and they reminisced and they talked about pastimes. They talked about, I kept up with all of you guys because of Cook and Mom talking all the time, on the phone. And so they gave a gift to each other that was very, very special. And I think that's good for all of us to know and to hear because, when our health deteriorates, when we age, we think sometimes we don't have a gift to give to people anymore and that we aren't important anymore. But Cook was, and she talked to Mom every day, and Mom talked to her in return, and the gift that they gave to each other, an aunt and a niece, was very, very special, and I will treasure that and remember that forever. And as I talked to Cook, the last couple times, she could hardly talk about that, and I thought, what a glorious day in heaven it is, because those two are talking, and Mom's hand isn't tired and her ear isn't hurting, because she doesn't have to have her cell phone up to her ear, and because as she wasn't able to hear out of one ear as good, so she kept having to move the phone to the other ear. And I thought of that, and I thought they can just talk, and share those times. So I just wanted to share that. I just have wonderful memories, and we have those wonderful memories at Grandma's house. And as we are in the Christmas season, Grandma Wilson always decorated outside, won awards year after year. There on 11th and Easter on the corner. And all of us grandkids would go, and we'd get a help. And so I can just remember being with everybody outside, and Cookie and all of us being out there and decorating and just having all of that fun. So great, great memories. So thank you.
Or for the mic, but I'm Lisa, Cookie's cousin. I hadn't seen her for quite a few years. She always was very special, as Cheryl had mentioned. Christmas time was always a very, very special time for all the Wilson family. I mean, we had, I don't know how many, there were 5 aunts and uncles plus my dad, plus each of them had multiple kids, and then the grandkids at Grandma's house. Cookie was always very loving, very giving. As Cheryl had mentioned. I have some memories of her and Vaughn when they lived in Great Bend. My dad used to go visit them all the time. And Vaughn and Dad would be at the table drinking their beer and having a good old time. But Cookie would always take care of me. I'm 12 years younger than Cookie. And she'd always play games, and she'd have special drinks that were non-alcoholic for all of us. But she was very caring, very loving. She's going to be greatly missed. For all the family members and people that didn't get to know her as she used to be, you can remember Christmas is a very special time for her. It is sad that she passed at this time, but it's also a good memory because there's a lot of family members up there at this special time at Christmas with her. And they're all celebrating, looking down on us, and we're feeling their blessings. So she'll never be forgotten. She'll always be remembered. And she's in a special place now with other family members. So Vaughn, you were very good to her. I know my dad was so grateful when the two of you got married. And he was close with you guys too. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to see her in the last 10 years, but we've got great memories of everybody. So.
Thank you.
She isn't even come over here.
Hi, I'm Shelley Nowland, a friend. My mom and dad was very good friends with Vaughn and Marie and Phyllis and Danny, and I did let Phyllis know Vaughn. Today is December 7th, so it's just kind of ironic that we honor Marie today. Marie was hospice in Trego County when there was no hospice 22 years ago when I lost my dad. So Marie is just one special gal. She was there nonstop for Mom when Dad was suffering through prostate cancer and was homebound, and we can't thank her enough. She's a very special lady. Love you.
Shelley, before your dad had passed, he told me he always wanted to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Do you remember what I did? I loaned him a motorcycle. Anyway, Vaughn and Marie, I first got to hear about Marie and such in the earlier 80s when my first wife Arlene worked up the long-term care in the hospital and such and that. And I'm not sure if Marie was there that day. They'd have me go pick up a nurse or go run some errands or something. One day they called me up and said, well, we want some chips and dip up here. So I went and got corn chips, potato chips, and dippity-doo. I got regular dip too. Anyway, fast forwarding. For the grandkids, this is an earlier part of her life, but not way back when, but like in the late 1990s, in the 2000 a little bit, I was leading a region for live ministries, which you'd seen that I mentioned earlier. It stood for Lay People in Vital Exchange. We would go as members just of a regular church to go and share with another congregation how Christ has touched us and what he's done for us. And I'd ask Vaughn and Marie at times, and Vaughn was interested in trying it. Marie says, I'm just going to observe. I'm not doing anything. I said, that's fine. That's fine. So we were there, and before we group with the church, we have a time together where we share, go over the materials and such. And so it's an 8-foot table. I'm at one end, and Vaughn and Marie are towards the other end. And we're asking who'd like to volunteer or be interested in hosting a coffee or an event for the weekend. And all of a sudden, from the far end of the table says, I will. We all looked down the table. Marie, was that you? Well, it came out of my mouth, but I didn't say it. And that was the start of something I believe she truly loved. She did. I know Vaughn has said it, and I know Marie, in talking the last months and years, have said it. There's two things she'd like to do yet. And then we'll go to see Jeff and go to another live weekend. She just truly fell in love with that ministry of sharing with others. But as you've heard, that's what she done here in Waukegan. She shared with others, either through her kitchen, working on people's feet, reflexology, feeding them at the table, it didn't matter. But her heart was in not only sharing food in her heart, but sharing God.
I'm on. It says, Mom, goodbye for now. You of all people would understand why I'm not standing up front and reading this today. Even if I could fight back the tears, the tremors I inherited from you would make this beyond hard to do. Although frustrating, I can no longer hate them because they're just another part of you I will carry with me forever. When I got to the hospital and saw the CT scan, I knew right away it was bad. I meant every word in that hospital room, that I would never give up on you and I would be by your side until your last breath, the same way you never gave up on me. In 2007, when I was on life support and bleeding 4 places on my brain, the doctor said if I made it, that I would have to learn everything again. How to walk, talk, and even feed myself. They told you and Dad to start looking for a facility that I could be watched and cared for 24/7. You didn't even look for a place. You knew right away that if I pulled through, that you were taking me home. You switched to work nights while Dad worked days, so one of you were here every minute of every day. The sacrifices, the selflessness, the love, the determination never went unnoticed or unappreciated. Until recently, I never knew the extent of what you went through to even get me here. I never knew how hard the doctors pushed you to stop trying for another child. I did know about your miscarriages. I did know they wanted to tie your tubes. I am grateful for your determination and unwillingness to give up on me, for you being the strong-willed, loving, and determined mother you were to not let Alan grow up as an only child. At times like these, I will need him as much as he will ever need me. You and Dad both taught and prepared us for so many things in life, big, small, and everything between. But the loss of someone you love so much is nothing anyone can prepare for. But that's okay, because after losing Mason, I know in my heart that you don't lose them forever. So it's never goodbye. It's goodbye for now, and I'll see you later. Anyone who truly knew you and how selfless and caring you are would know how perfectly fitting this is to ask of you. If I could ask just one more thing, it wouldn't just be to tell Braxton, Mason, and all my loved ones up there how much I love and miss them, but to do it for every person here today who has lost someone they love. And yes, I know that's a lot of people, but Mom, you have eternity. Till I see you again, love your son, Doug. I don't really think you can follow that, to be honest. So I'm just going to ask Vaughn to come up and share some final words, if you would.
He's going to pick it up here. Okay. I want to thank you all for coming to Mary's graduation service. And I want to introduce you to my grandson. This is Garrison. He's going to be my assistant today. I don't know where you want to stand. Over here or right there? Okay. Anyway, I want just a little short prayer for now. Lord, thank you for this day and this time. Thank you so much for putting Marie in my life at the perfect time. And Lord, I thank you for your son, Jesus Christ. Without him, there would be no hope for any of us. So I thank you for that, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Are you ready for this? Let's get her done. When I met Marie, the only thing I had to offer was 6 months sobriety. And because myself, I was a drunkard. I ran around with a gang in Great Bend, and I'm glad that married her, and of course that comes later, but I did move to Waukegan, got out of Great Bend. When I told her that I was an alcoholic, she said, well, I'll wait till you see my family drink. They drink pretty good too. And Marie was simple, and yet she was so special. I loved her more every day. And I look back now, somebody asked me, was it love at first sight? And I said, I don't know for sure, but now I know for sure it was. I saw there was something special around here, and that something special was her smile. And her smile and her beauty, she had a loving heart. And she was a natural-born caregiver, just like her sister Becky. They was born to do that. And they did a lot for Trego County. And I mean that with all my heart. She made me a better person. And like Mason said, he said, she and I were amazing people, me and Grandma. And I said, why were we so amazing? Because you lived 60 years without a cell phone. And I said, well, it's a piece of cake, right? Anyway, I've always believed the best investment you can make in your life is in your wife. And I still believe that to be true. I met Marie in 1976, March of 1976 at Kentucky Fried Chicken in Great Bend. Her smile captivated me immediately when I saw her come into my boss's office, because that's where I was waiting to talk to her. And she got off at 3, so I asked her, can you want to go for a ride? She said yes. So we went riding around, and I asked her for a date for Saturday night. And she said yes. I put a smile on my face. We went to the bowling alley, and yeah, she beat me 3 games of pool, but she didn't tell me that her dad owned a pool hall. I didn't find that out till later. She didn't say a word. She said, I'll take you to see my folks in Waukegan one of these days. And I thought, yeah. And I walked in, I turned around to her and said, he owns this? Yeah. Well, did you play here? Some. Yeah, right. I got hustled. That's what that was. But anyway, we kept dating, and we didn't date for very long. We got married. It was just, I met her in the middle of March, and we were married June the 17th, 76. So, and that smile never ceased. Not even when she was pregnant and had 2 miscarriages. Because the pediatricians, like Doug said, they didn't say much. They didn't say anything about adoption, because then came Alan on the 3rd pregnancy. But when 4 and 5 pregnancy came, they said, you seriously need to consider adoption. And Marie said, no, I don't. I don't have to consider anything. I'm going to try until Alan is not going to grow up an only child. So the next pregnancy number 6, along came Doug. And they still pressured us to tie our tubes. Well, so we pressed on. The smile never wavered. And when Doug came, the big smile came and says, now you can tie my tubes. And so they did. And shortly after that, Marie met two wonderful people, Judy Beaker and Cindy Scanlon. And they were having a Bible study. Well, Marie got in it. And that's how it came to be that we attended the Church of God. And in 1988, Marie turned her life over to Jesus Christ. And in 1989, I followed, did the same thing. And with Christ, we made it through the tough times, even better than we did before without him. And that explains that. And in 2000, the Lord asked me to go back to college. So I came home after work and told Marie, and I thought she was going to have second thoughts. She said, well, you better get over there to Fort Hays and get enrolled. So that's what I did. I graduated in 2005 with a degree in psychology, sociology, and I became an alcohol and drug rehab counselor. So she was rubbing off on me in all the right ways. I was getting better and better every day because I was nothing when I met her. And she makes you better just being around her. And then even after 5 falls, she never lost that smile, not once, in 48 years. And I need a drink of water. I'm getting dry. I hope that. Just a little bit. Yeah, that's good. I'm okay. I'm fine. In closing, I'd like to say, I know Marie was the oldest of all of the 6 kids, and Jeffrey was the youngest. But Jeffrey has that smile. And so does Gwen, and so does David, and so does Nicholas. I've seen it. And I don't know if it's hereditary or not, but they got it. So I say to you, never, never underestimate the power of a smile. It's magic, and it's godly magic. It's divine magic. And never, never doubt the power of God, for he can give you things that you never dreamed of. And one of mine was Marie. And he gave her to me at the perfect time. I needed her when I had 6 months sobriety and nothing else. But anyway, with God, she saved my life, physically and spiritually. And I want to thank you guys for coming. God bless all of you. Have a very Merry Christmas. And to God be the glory. Amen. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for helping me.
Just a minute. Gentlemen?
Oh. Thank you. That means a lot, too. Can I just lay this down?
Our love is unconditional. We knew it from the start. I see it in your eyes. You can feel it from my heart. From here on after, let's stay the way we are right now and share all the love and laughter that a lifetime will allow. I cross my heart and promise to give all I've got to give to make all your dreams come true. In all the world, you'll never find a love as true as mine. You will always be the miracle that makes my life complete. And as long as there's a breath in me, I'll make yours just as sweet. As we look into the future, it's as far as we can see. So let's make each tomorrow be the best that it can be. I cross my heart and promise to give all I've got to give to make all your dreams come true. In all the world, you'll never find a love as true as mine. And if along the way we find a day it starts to storm, you've got the promise of my love to keep you warm. In all the world, you'll never find a love as true as mine. A love as true as mine.
Do the grandchildren feel like they heard a little bit more about Grandma? See a little theme that was going on in her life. I hope we all heard some common themes that were taking place through the story that was told through the 72 years of breath through apparently we don't call Marie, but Cookie's life. Because there was a lot there. And I know there's more. You know, I'm sorry that part of me sorry that I cut off, but I really feel like that was time to say. But I encourage you to keep sharing it. Go to lunch afterwards and keep sharing these moments and these stories and these memories. And I'm going to bet that as you do, you're going to continue to hear the themes of her life. And oftentimes in these moments, I guess get the privilege of getting to sit with the family ahead of time. Got to sit with these guys in a hospital room, in a coffee shop, in different places, and just continue to hear them share. And over time, you just kept hearing the same themes interwoven through all the stories. And I listen for those because if we're going to truly honor the life of someone, not just share stories about them, not just reflect on memories, not just to remember what was, but truly honor the life that they lived and honor the one that gave them that life, I think we need to look for the themes that they found important. Because if we're going to honor, it's up to us to decide if we're going to carry on those things that they were trying to teach through the way that they lived. I don't think these themes in Marie's life were just by accident because she wanted to do it. She was trying to show us something, as I hope we all are doing as we live out the breaths that we have. I'm not going to rehash everything because you heard it, but there's a few especially that I think Marie lived that would be very wise of us to consider. Consider implementing into our own lives, especially family, especially grandchildren, as you think of this, to carry on that she wanted to teach in order to honor her. You can see a theme of humor in the life of Marie. Because she was quiet, unless you were near her, and it sounds like it was often pretty dry, you might not have noticed it. You know, some just have that dry wit and they have that dry humor. But what I noticed a lot wasn't just the humor that came out of her, but her willingness not to take herself too seriously. I love the fact that Alan brought it up, that it's been mentioned, and they brought it up even in our conversations, that she wouldn't even get upset if her kids were basically mean to her about her trimmers on things. She would just have fun with it. All the way to the point, Alan said he would tell her you couldn't even get ice in the sink, or put water in the ice tray in the sink and get it to the freezer in time to freeze. And she would just laugh about it. I'm still trying to figure out why she picked Vaughn, because he told her she could work at Dairy Queen or an ice cream shop and make all kinds of milkshakes.
You know what I tell people? I told my softball team, I just told Tommy Coker back there, I was blind when she met me. And by the time she got her eyesight back, she decided to keep me.
I'm going to have to think on that one a little bit. But he would tell her you could make great milkshakes. And she would laugh about it because she had a humor. She knew it's almost like she didn't think she was perfect and didn't have to try and live it out that way. She knew where some of those, what we would call weaknesses or struggles or whatever were, that we all have. And
One thing, Jared, I was going to say, I finally asked Marie after so many years, I don't know when it was, why do you go around smiling like that? I know it's real, but is there a motive behind it? She said, I've seen too many going around like the Grim Reaper. They're miserable, and I am not going to live like that. That was her answer.
so if you couldn't hear Vaughn, he just said he asked her why she was always smiling with everything. She says, I've seen too many walking around like the Grim Reaper, and I'm not going to walk around like that. That's a theme that's important for us to pick up in her life. That would be wise for us to consider to adopt in our own. But in the midst of even having that calmness that was mentioned, that person that could bring the calm, that lightheartedness, that willingness to look that way, she was clearly also a very determined, even to the point of stubborn woman. And sometimes it may not always turn out so good for her when that happens. Sometimes it did. But it led to so many important moments for her family that we have heard about. When we literally heard about the fact that she has maybe two, but at least one child that would not be here if she was not determined, if she was not stubborn. Vaughn wouldn't be who he is, as he shared with you, if it weren't for her determination and her stubbornness. He just barely hit the tip of the iceberg as he went through a very real struggle. But her determination and her stubbornness, especially for those that she loves, to keep going and to keep going and to keep going, man, that is something for us to pick up on. To not quit and be willing to hang in there. You could see that interwoven through all of this. But the two most main characteristics along with that were very obvious, and it was said over and over and over, was her selflessness and just her hard work ethic through it. It's very clear that she was very selfless. I don't remember which one it was that was talking to me. He said, I can't tell you how many times and how many ways that someone would say she put everyone else first before herself. In fact, I believe it was one of her daughter-in-laws that just said, if you even said my back hurts, she would say, take off your shoes and give me your foot, even if you're in the middle of the store. Because that was just her mindset, I'm hurting. If she was doing anything and you had a need, she would drop what she was doing. They said even cooking to care for you. She would go and take in things that she may not care about, like ball games and apparently guns and shooting for you, to be with you, to show she cares about you. I was personally touched, and I don't know why this got me so much when they were talking about, you guys remember the cinnamon candy that was often made at Christmas time that people like to give? That would be a great thing to bring back, by the way, because that was good stuff. But she would make them for her children, for her 2 boys, which you would think, well, that's not that big of a deal, except for the fact that she was allergic to the cinnamon. And they would walk in, and her face would be red and puffy to the point that her eyes were closed. But she made that cinnamon candy for her boys because they wanted that. That's, how selfless is that? She was lighthearted. She knew how to relax and enjoy. She was determined to the point of being stubborn, and she was selfless and would work hard. And I think a lot of that, as you just continue to hear about her life, is why it came to a point where she had not so much a characteristic but a gift to share, and what they kept calling her magic thumbs. And even outside the family, I was just meeting with somebody in town, and we were talking about this day, and this guy talked about her thumbs and what she could do with her thumbs. And as he put it, he says, to be honest with you, I hated her thumbs because it hurt when she was squeezing on my feet until about an hour or 2 later. Others said, I loved her thumbs. It felt so good. But at the end of each story, whether it might have felt good or it might have hurt when she was done, they always said you felt better because of those thumbs. And obviously part of it's because she was gifted in what she was trained to do in reflexology, but I think she put a little bit more into that than just her job. She put in this lightheartedness. She put in this determination. She put in this willingness to serve. And as they would tell you, if you weren't happy, she was going to make sure that you were happy by the time it was done. It led to finding where other people hurt and doing what was needed to make them feel better by the time they were done with her. That's what these characteristics of her life led to, and why I think it's so important for us to consider, and if we want to honor her, to consider carrying that on ourselves, family, especially children, grandchildren. As you share these, realize what she was sharing with you. But I would encourage you not only to realize what she was sharing with you, but ask yourself why she got to that place. Because it's not real normal to be a person that carries these characteristics like what Marie shared. But I absolutely believe that there is a reason why this was important to her and why this is who she became. And I believe it starts with her hearing and understanding and actually believing a verse that we flippantly throw around. I believe she absolutely believed and leaned into the fact that God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him won't perish but have everlasting life. And doesn't end there, because God did not come to condemn the world, but to save the world. And I think it came to a point, as Vaughn shared in 1988, where she understood this. And when that happens, and we begin to believe that, something happens, because the characteristics she began to live out are the characteristics that are him, that he is living as he's wanting to save the world, as that passage says. It led her to a point where she actually believed that with God, nothing is impossible. And that even if I'm at a place where my physical strength is sapped and I can't do what I used to do, through Christ, he'll give me strength. I can do it. And eventually led her to a place that I truly believe became who she was, where she would do nothing out of selfish ambition or in vain conceit, but in humility, valuing others above herself, not looking to her own interest, but at the interest of others. She would be who you saw her be. This didn't just come out of the blue, where Marie just happened to be some angelic young woman that was born that we could all experience growing up that's different than everybody else. She met someone who loved her and gave those same characteristics, that same theme that we're looking at, into her life. And she took on that same attitude and shared it with you as he continued to change her. And if we're truly going to honor the life of Marie, Louise, Cookie, Marcum, that's what we need to consider. These stories are amazing. We need to share them. But how did they come to be? Why is this who she became? What happened to her, or better yet, who happened to her? And look at what's happened because of it. You literally had a man stand in front of you in tears, missing her after 48 years together, whose life was changed because of it all. If we're going to honor her, that's how we honor her. Not just laugh, not just cry, but consider and see if we want to carry that on ourselves. I honestly believe that that's why I know that you're going to go downstairs in a little bit, and there's going to be a whole bunch of these down there. I think there's two reasons for that. Number one, they want to get rid of them out of the house because there's a lot down there. Number two, I mean, it's what's in that red cup probably that you see in the picture right there. And they have a sign that the grandchildren made that says Marie's Happy Hour on it. It's pretty cute. Make sure you look at it. They did a good job on there. And when they got together, they would have that happy hour with grandma or mom or whoever. But listen, we've clearly had many more happy hours with her. And I believe if that's because of who she knew and who she believed. And we can create many more happy hours for those around us. If we will not just remember and not just reflect, but determine to honor her life by carrying on what she was living for us. And I'll just finish with this. You're not going to be able to get up today and just go, okay, I'll do it. It just doesn't happen that way. It's hard. Life will continue to come at you. But there is a grace available that she received that will help all the way through. And we're going to close by just listening and being reminded of that amazing grace. We close this time.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many days
I'm going to invite you, just 3 requests. Come on down afterwards. If you can't stay to eat, come on down, at least get your can of Dr. Pepper. Okay? Have that happy hour with that. Following that, just when the time is there and it's time to go, there will be some time at the graveside. Those that want to go be a part of that will be available. As we close, the family's just going to go down and you can meet them down there. I encourage you to be a part of that. But here's the third thing, and I'm especially sharing this for those that are here in this town, but love on this guy. Right now, there's been a lot of activity, a lot of family, a lot going on. And as the next week comes and we go, those that have been there especially know how hard that is. But more than once, he's brought up when he would walk into the house, what would she say to you when he'd walk in the door? That better be my hubby. Listen, that's going to be hard. So love on this guy. And in doing that, we just honor the life of Marie as we carry on that she did for so many years. God, I pray that you would help us in this. Give us the grace, give us the strength, give us the ability, give us the desire, give us the courage, give us everything that's needed that we know we need from you, that can only come from you. To just consider these characteristics about these themes of Marie's life. Thank you for extending your amazing grace to her, which then went to Vaughn and then just spread out to so many people, reminding so many how much you love and how much you care and how much you want to be involved and how much you want to walk with us. Help us to be those that continue that on. The Marie started for so many years and so many around us, so others can experience it too. As we leave this place, I do also pray that you just help us to know how to be hands and feet and words for Alan, for Doug, for Vaughn, for the family, for grandchildren, in-laws, just everybody involved. So that this life that we've celebrated and we've remembered and we've reflected on today will continue to be honored in the remainder of our breaths. In Jesus' name, amen.
I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some helping heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance. I hope you dance.
Is a wheel in constant motion.
I hope you dance.
So long.
I hope you dance.
Wants to look back on their youth and
I
wonder
hope you
where
dance.
those years have gone.
I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
Is a wheel in constant motion.
I hope you dance.
So long.
I hope